Hi guys, and welcome back for a new video. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining us here. My name is Aisha, or Aisha Cream on social media, and I post videos once a week on a Sunday or Tuesday, but I've been super inconsistent, so I do apologize. I've had so much going on, but I'm going to try my hardest to get back on my regular filming schedule because I love it. I love doing it, so I've really missed this. So anyway, today's video, as the title suggests, I am going to be talking to you guys about how to buy your first property. So this is for anybody who may be considering buying a house, but you may not have any idea kind of about the process, what you need to do, all that stuff, or maybe you haven't even considered it, but you know one day in the future you want to do it, and maybe you don't even realize that it's within your reach. So hopefully this video should help you out. So I'm going to try my hardest to remember everything because it was a complete whirlwind, like from me like deciding that okay, I'm going to go for it, to actually getting the property. It was so quick, so smooth. I don't think everybody's journey is the same, but mine was. So let me start from, oh, and also I've made some notes on my phone to try and not forget anything, so if I keep looking down, that's why. So yeah, so for me, how it all started is I've always wanted to do to get on the property ladder and do a buy to let. So that's just buying a property and renting out to other people. And just a kind of side note as well, so a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about in this video are, well, not a lot, just some of the things are very specific to kind of people living in the UK. So if you don't live in the UK, some of these things will not apply to you or may not be relevant, but generally speaking it will be relevant, so keep watching. So yeah, I've always known that I've wanted to get on the property ladder. I've wanted to do like property on the side like my mum and dad do. You know, I think it's such a good, clever investment, such a good investment, and so yeah, I've always known that I've wanted to do that. And my parents have been were really supportive and encouraging of me as well to do that as well. Yeah, so my dad would regularly ask me, so how's the saving going for the deposit, how's the saving going for the deposit? And it would always be kind of the same kind of story, like, yeah, I'm saving, but I just, like, all the time I just didn't feel that I would be able to afford a property. I just did not think it would be possible. So I was kind of, you know, just continuing to try and save money. And I wasn't really sure what I was waiting for, to be honest. To be perfectly honest with you, I did not know what I was waiting for. And then one day my dad kind of said to me, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was basically like, why don't you call some mortgage advisors, some banks, and ask and see if you can get a mortgage? And I was taken aback because I was like, me, a mortgage, like what? So at this stage I had been promoted to marketing manager at my old job, at my old place, and so my salary was a lot more than I was on in my previous role as a coordinator. So when he said that, I was taken aback, but at the same time I was like, okay, I am on a lot more money now, so maybe I can actually get it, even though this role wasn't like permanent. But I always knew that I was never gonna stay there and go back to my old job. So, you know, I was like, okay, let me try calling up a few places. So the first bank I called, they basically told me that they couldn't give me a mortgage, and they actually said that if it wasn't because of my car, because my car is it's not a lease, it's on finance basically, so it's a PCP or something like that. So basically, because I had those regular payments coming out, so then they couldn't give me a mortgage. But if I didn't have that, then they would have. So I was like, what? Like, I was learning stuff that I never knew. So that's something that I will pick up later on. But yeah, so then first one I was like, it was a no. But actually before then, because that one was for me buying the property and not doing it as a buy to let, not buying it to rent out to other people. But before then, actually, I've skipped a bit of the story. So before that, I had started calling companies up that I found online who do buy to let mortgages. And I think I ended up calling like there must have been like a broker or something, and asking them like, how much deposit do I need to raise for buy to let? And they told me 25%. So if you're going to buy a property to rent it out, you have to put down 25% of the value of the property. So let's just say, for the ease of calculation, that you're looking to buy a property that's £100,000, and you want to do it as a buy to let, then you have to put down £25,000 deposit down. So also, like, instantly I was like, okay, that's not gonna happen. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. But it would literally take me at least another 5 years, and I just wanted to get on this property ladder because that is the toughest part to do. So I think I had a chat with my mum and dad, and basically they suggested, well, we kind of all thought, actually what would be a good idea is to just get a property for myself, like, so not buy to let, but just get it and then live in it as long as I need to, and then move it to a buy to let mortgage basically. So I was like, okay, that sounds like the best option at the moment. And then I called the bank, said no. And then I think that was actually the only bank that I called. And then after that I was like, this isn't looking good. And then there's a property near me, well, not near me, but it's like 10 minutes drive away from our house, and we pass it pretty much every day, like on my way to work or to town. And I always look at it and I think, because it's a new development, they built it brand new, and I always looked at these houses and thought, oh, how nice would it be to own one, not thinking that I actually would do eventually. And yeah, so we then, when all this house thing started, like I said, it really happened so quick. It was just so like, oh, like so fast. But when all this kind of started, then we went, because they were still building the estate. They'd finished building my place, but they were still building the estate. It hadn't been complete yet. So me, mum and dad, we went to the sales office. And we asked to have a look around, loved it. Well, we had a look at a few, and then decided on the one that I wanted. Loved it, and then it just all happened so quickly. It was like deposit, this, that, the other, what carpets. But all I know is that it was super quick, and I was just like, oh my god, like I'm actually committing to this. This is crazy, but really exciting as well. Adrenaline was just rushing, and yeah, so then the sales office, they recommended a mortgage advisor to me, which I was a bit skeptical, because I was like, oh, there's probably some kind of catch, because they're obviously trying to make money from it or something. I didn't know, so, but I was just like, but mum and dad seemed fine with it, so I was like, okay, let's go with it. And they were amazing, and I'll talk about them later. They made my life so easy, and because I was the first owner, so there was no chain, so I wasn't having to wait for people to get another property to move out for me to then move in. None of that, so it was super quick. In 6 weeks it took, the process, and I got the keys to the apartment, and I managed to move in and stuff like that. So that's kind of I would say a quick summary, but it's been about 9 minutes, and not so quick summary of my process. So I'm just going to go through now the steps that you need to take for when you're buying yours. So like I said, I've got notes on my phone, so I'm going to keep looking down so that I don't miss anything. Oh, and by the way, the fact that mine took 6 weeks was super simple and super straightforward, I think partly was because I wasn't buying it from another owner basically. So my experience, I wouldn't say, is necessarily typical. So based on my story, step one, what I would say is to decide what kind of mortgage you want. So if you want to go straight in for the buy-to-let mortgage, which requires you to put a lot more deposit down, then you need to get saving like from like last year, 5 years ago, because yeah, you're gonna have to save up a lot more money. But if you just want to buy a property that you can live in, then obviously you don't need to save up as much of a deposit. So you need to figure out what you were kind of aiming for, what's your goal. Okay, the second thing you then need to do is research the market and mortgages. So do what I did, basically have an idea of a property that you have your eye on, so you will know roughly how much of a deposit you will need to put down, and then start contacting banks mortgage advisors, what have you, to get an idea of whether you can actually be given a mortgage. Because before you can actually put an offer in or whatever, you need to have a mortgage in principle. So it's basically a bank saying that they would offer you a mortgage based on all the information that you've given them. So yeah, you need to do that research first. There's no use in calling banks up if you have no idea what kind of property you want to buy, so you then have no idea how much it's going to cost and all that stuff. So that's really important. Your research, do your research, do your research. So like I said, when I started calling around about asking about mortgages and things like that, the first bank that I called, they said that they wouldn't give me a mortgage, and if I didn't have my car, well, if I didn't have the car that I did, that I was paying the amount that I was paying for it, then they would have given me it. So it's really important to kind of prioritize, I guess, at this stage. So if because I mean, I guess if I had known that, then, well, to be fair, I managed to get one. I had loads of other banks that were willing to give me a mortgage, so it was not a problem. But if it got to a case where my car was like preventing me from getting a mortgage, then, you know, you definitely reprioritize. Because for me, I'd say getting a house is more important. You can just get like an older car or something. But yeah, like I said, luckily for me, there was plenty of other banks that were willing to give me a loan, so it was fine. But you just need to make sure you prioritize correctly. Okay, so now you know kind of what property you're after and the kind of value of it. You've managed to get some banks who are willing to give you a mortgage, to loan you the money basically. The next step is to make sure you have that deposit. I mean, really, the deposit, you should be working on it anyway. I would say, whether you know what you want, you should, as long as you have the goal of buying a property, then you should always kind of be saving up in the background anyway. But if you hadn't, then you need to get starting like ASAP. In fact, you know what, I would move the deposit one higher up, because at this stage it'll be too late if you're getting banks saying that they give you a mortgage but you don't have a deposit. So yeah, move that up, bump it up. But anyway, so there's so many different ways that you can save up. In the UK, there's the government help to buy schemes. There was at a time the help to buy ISA, which still exists, but I think they finished doing that in like 2009, in November of last year, 2019. I don't know why they stopped doing it, but I believe there are other options available as well. So that scheme was basically like whatever you put in, they would give you an additional 25% of the value, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but like I said, that one's no longer available. But there are several other ones that you can look at. So that's one way to save. Another way is just to open a savings account that you don't have access to, in terms of like you don't have a bank card, so you can't just easily go to an ATM and take money out. The one that really helped me was doing something called Adache. I mean, there's probably, well, there most likely will be an English name for it, but I don't know what it is. But it's so good, and I'll talk more about that in my how to save money like a boss video that I'm gonna do. But yeah, honestly, Adache is what helped me save money. Like, it is just so good, so useful, and you can use it to save money for any big value kind of purchase. And like I said, I'll talk more about it in my how to save money like a boss video. But yeah, so whether you do that, whether you you know, get one of these apps where it helps you put money aside for every purchase you make, there's so many different ways to save money. So you just need to do that and have the end goal in mind. Having the end goal in mind is really going to help you get to your goal of saving how much you need to save. Okay, so that's super important, the deposit. And also what I will mention as well is that for a first-time buyer in the UK, you do have access to the government's help to buy scheme that I mentioned. So I actually used that as well, and it's really useful. It's a really great way for to help first-time buyers get on the property ladder, which is why I was saying that buying a property is probably a lot more within your reach than you realize. So yeah, and if you want me to talk more about the help to buy that I used and all that stuff, let me know down below and I'll be more than happy to do it. So, and with the government help to buy scheme as well, first time buyers can buy a property with just 5% deposit. So there's a whole kind of reason behind that. But like I said, if you want me to talk more about it, let me know and I can do that in another video, so you understand. But generally speaking, so if you, for example, didn't use the Help to Buy scheme, then it is better to put down a minimum of 10%, because then you're, well, the more you pay towards your deposit, the less your interest. But like I said, with the government Help to Buy scheme, there's, yeah, let me know if you want me to discuss it more, because otherwise this video is going to go on forever. Okay, so the next step is to make sure your finances are in order, because once the process starts, you are going to get so many checks, credit checks, finance checks. Like, they're wanting to basically check that you don't have a load of debts on your in your name, that you will pay your mortgage. So they do credit checks. So for me, like, and that's another reason as well, you need and that's another thing, so it's really important to make sure that you have a credit history. So if you don't have a credit history, you need to be getting one now. So you know, things like having phone bills in your name, having gym membership direct debits that come out every month, having a car in your name. You need to have something that will build you up a credit history. Otherwise, when you come to buy a property, if they've not got something to check your kind of payment reliability, I guess, against, then you are going to struggle to get a mortgage basically. So I have things like my gym membership, phone, car, all that kind of stuff. So I knew, and I've never defaulted on a payment, never missed out a payment, so I knew that I'll be fine with the checks. So yeah, just make sure you have all your finances in check and you should be good to go. You also obviously need to prove that you have a consistent income. You just need to be able to show proof of your last three, I think it's last 3 or 6 or 12, I can't remember, but no, I think it might be 6 or 3, I can't remember. I'll leave it in the description or something, or just check on Google. But yeah, you need to be able to show that your last so many pay slips. So do not be changing jobs in between the process, or don't get a new job just before you want to apply for a mortgage, because you will struggle. Okay, my next bit of advice is probably the most, no, they're all important, but it's super important. So get yourself a really good, really reliable mortgage advisor. So I was lucky, like I said, because I bought a property from a new development. So there was a sales office, they kind of helped guide me to the right people and stuff like that, and they recommended a company called Gledhills. They are mortgage advisors. They are bloody fantastic, like so good. They made my life so easy, because along the way there are different things that you have to get done. There's surveys, there's all the legal stuff, and they literally, well, finding like the bank and sorting out all the paperwork and all that stuff, they are so frigging good. They literally come to your house whenever suits you. I think mine came at like 6 or 7 o'clock, so I wanted mum and dad to both be there to all listen to everything and things like that. And they go through everything with you. They'll find you the bank, and the thing is, they are not affiliated to like one specific bank, so it's not like they're trying to sell you one particular bank which may not be the best one. They actually look around to find which one is the best one, which one has the best deal, that kind of thing. So they are so good. And then and also they don't charge you a fee, because they get paid by the bank that you end up going with. So they're just, honestly, I can't recommend them enough. If you're in the UK and you're looking to buy your first property, or just a property, not even your first, like, I really highly recommend them. And they're not paying me to say this, by the way. Probably don't even know I'm saying this and never will. But they are so good. And even like with all the legal stuff, the survey stuff, they literally, I'm pretty sure, yeah, they did. They dealt with all that stuff, and I would just get the paperwork in the post and just like read it and sign it. I did that with my mum and dad and stuff. Because obviously they've done it before, so they know what they're doing. So it was kind of nice having people there to guide me along. But yeah, Gledhills are fantastic. They made my life so much easier. And also during the process, you're gonna have a lot of paperwork, so make sure you have you're organized. Get some kind of folder. This is what I got. Oh, it's so friggin' heavy and it doesn't even close properly. Like, so much paperwork in there, but you need to organize everything. You need to have everything in one place so you can refer to it whenever you need it. You will get massive contracts that you need to read, like this thick, and you like literally need to read them because you're gonna sign for a property. Like, that's a huge investment. You can't just be like, you know, like when you're on the internet, be like, yeah, I agree, whatever. You have to read it. But yeah, so you need to be organized. To get yourself some kind of a folder that you can be putting all the paperwork in, because there's gonna be a lot of it, like a lot of paperwork. But yeah, so that's kind of like a general overview of the steps that I would recommend for anybody who's wanting to buy a property. I really do hope that this has helped you and given you a bit more motivation to, you know, realize that maybe it is more within your reach than you think. And sometimes you just need to actually ask the questions, and then that can help push things along for you. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you want me to talk about anything, memory ran out. So I think I was just saying, if you'd like me to do another, like, more videos elaborating on any specific area that I've talked about today, just let me know, because I'd be more than happy to do that. And yeah, if you're not subscribed, make sure you are. Hit the like button if you liked this video and found it useful. Share with a friend, and I'll catch you with my next one. Yeah, bye guys.